Hi everyone. First of all, let's apologize for the mishaps earlier. We had a technical situation that just ended the call, ended the live. So sorry about that. So for the past several months, and especially these past few days, all eyes around the world has been on St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Why? The volcano, the Soufrière volcano. A few evenings ago, we actually hosted a very intriguing live with Professor Richard Robertson, who is the leader of the team, the research team at the volcano, at the Soufrière volcano. So after that conversation with the professor, there were so many comments that came in after, so many conversations after, and we were able to not only reach out to persons in St. Vincent, but persons in St. Vincent also reach out to us. And we want to really know what is happening, not just from the professional angle, the research sectors only, but we want to know what people, just like me and you, what are they really experiencing on a day-to-day level, day-to-day basis right now in St. Vincent. Because as you know, we're not only dealing with a pandemic, but the volcano is now adding so much more pressure on that community and neighboring islands as well. And as you know also, if our sisters and our brothers are affected, we are also affected. All right. So without further ado, what I do have is three guests from St. Vincent. They're in St. Vincent right now. Two of the young men, they're on the road right now. They're working at shelters. So we just want to dive right in, let them introduce themselves, and we will just have a collective conversation. As you do know how we do this, we are able to engage with our audience. We want you to ask questions. We want you to just be a part of this conversation. It's not an interview, but it's more conversations. We want to know from the people, the regular day-to-day people, what is really happening in St. Vincent, what their experiences are, and where their minds are right now, where the emotions are at this very moment, right? So let's just dive in. So we have Christopher. I don't know who would like to go first. Christopher. Christopher, you're muted.
My bad. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry about that. Thank you for having me, Keoma. My name is Christopher Grant. I am a secondary school teacher at the St. Joseph Convent, Maracua. I've been teaching now for about 2 years.
Okay.
Okay.
Kamu?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Utamu Rose. I'm a young professional in the field of geography/geology, and I'm employed with the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And Mr. Mark Odion.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Odion Hillocks. I am a teacher at the Emmanuel High Mesopotamia. Also a master's student with UE St. Augustine.
Okay, perfect. So to our viewers, you will notice two of the gentlemen, they're in their car. Mark Odion is actually driving. So let's just dive in let's go to Odion, because since you're driving, what exactly is happening there in your perspective? How are you coping, and how are you engaging currently?
So first of all, I can say I am lucky enough to have been in what was considered a safe zone, being the green zone, which would be to the very south of the island. So everything happened a little bit delayed at my house, but I've been on the ground since the eruption because, well, as I said, because of where I am, I know I would be less impacted than those closest to the volcano, obviously. So it's just been a up and down, trying to assist where we can, as Utamu would tell you, because we're in the same group. We just have a very active group of youth. I would just say now, because although you don't see any females amongst us in terms of your participants, the group that we are in has a lot of females. I know a lot of persons to talk about representation, but yes, I just put it out there. But we're just on the ground trying to assist where we can. As I said, it's a group of youth who are very interested and involved and want the best for the persons of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we're just pitching our resources together, whether it be in-kind donations of our time or vehicles, anything that we can do. We are trying to assist. We have persons who have been assisting at shelters as well. So again, it's just a group of youth who have the common goal of building back better and building back stronger.
Oh, thank you very much for your work. Before I even dive into ask you questions, I'll just hop over. Let's go to Chris. Chris, what is the current state in your perspective right now? What has your experience been over the past several weeks and now the past recent days? Chris, I'm not hearing you.
Yes, looking outside, it has been quite. Oh, to see St. Vincent like this is crazy. As a friend said, it looks like a war zone, and you've seen some of the pictures that I've sent you. It's
Yeah.
For the most part, all of the trees are covered in ash. Thank God we got some rain this morning, where a good bit of the ash, not a good bit, a fair amount of the ash was washed away, but there's still a lot of ash around. Buildings are covered, trees are covered, etc. My experience has been, I don't want to say scary. Well, yeah, scary. It has been, especially last night. We lost power last night and we don't have water. And say around 1, 2 o'clock, you heard a lot of rumbling. You saw like lightning, etc. And it was really unnerving to see that happening. And it's a very scary experience, I would say. But you just have to give God thanks. We have not lost lives as a result of the eruptions, and we're just holding strong. St. Vincent we are very resilient. We have been through many different disasters, and I'm very sure that we will come to this even stronger, just like Odion said. So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for that, Chris. So we go now to. I'm losing. So we go now to Utamu.
Aye.
I know you're on the road. I know you're close to a park. Just now you came out where we had that little hiccup just now. So what exactly is happening around your environment right now? Where are you engaging right now?
Okay, well, as Mark said, we're basically just a group of young individuals who feel a great sense of social responsibility. And based on our experience with the eruption, we knew that on the ground, some assistance would be required. So we've just been trying to mobilize some resources and help with the immediate needs at some of the shelters that we have. I've moved from the park. I'm currently actually in capital city, Kingston.
Okay.
And there is it looks reminiscent of a ghost town currently. There's a few vehicles moving around, but you can tell that the atmosphere is different. Certainly, there's been significant ashfall, especially in the windward side of the island, because of the type of ash venting that we saw from the Soufrière during the course of some of the eruptions so far. We have been blanketed in quite a significant amount of ash. So I think that is one of the major challenges right now. It's challenging visibility, it's challenging transportation, it's challenging even us being outside to breathe in the air. So getting resources mobilized on the ground is a bit challenging right now. But as I said, we're just a grouping of individuals. There are other organizations, and the National Emergency Management Organization is working assiduously to try and address some of the issues that we're experiencing immediately. But long term, I do foresee that we are going to need significant regional and international assistance.
You mentioned the need for assistance. What kind of assistance do you foresee having, or not even foresee, what you're seeing right now?
Currently, I think one of the major challenges is going to be water. water is going to be necessary because the CWSA has already reported that due to the type of ashfall that we have experienced, they will not be able to draw water from any of the catchment systems anytime soon. And I have also seen reports that due to the weight of the ash that has fallen in certain areas, they cannot access some of these facilities to do any sort of maintenance work as yet. So I do think water is going to be one of the most pressured resources moving forward in the coming days and weeks.
But in terms of rescuing, if certain areas are blocked off, what is in place for persons to be rescued if they're stranded or trapped in their homes or in a particular area?
Well, since the evacuation order has been given, there's been a significant amount of efforts being placed to try and get people evacuated out of the red zone and safely. I know that currently there are some last minute efforts still being carried out for persons, particularly on the windward side of the island in North Windward and also in the North Leeward area. For different reasons, varying reasons. Some persons, unfortunately, still have remained in these communities, and I think as recently as 12 p.m. today, the Coast Guard had to venture out to Oya, I think, on the windward side of the island, to collect some persons and evacuate them via boat. So those efforts have still been ongoing, but there's a significant movement of persons to the south of the island seeking refuge from some of the more major impacts of the volcanic eruption.
Okay, I know we have currently over 200 persons tuning live, and we have 2 teachers on our live right now. So there is a comment from Marcia Dorset. She says, "I'm from Guyana. I'm looking for my friend Anne Marie Glasgow. She's a teacher. Kindly help me find her. God protect you people, and be safe." So if anyone who is viewing, anyone is in StVincent, Christopher, Mark, anyone, if you all are familiar with Anne Marie Glasgow, maybe Marcia, if you like, maybe you can include the name of her, the school she teaches. So I think that too will be a great help, right? So thank you for that, Marcia.
Yes. If she could also include the area in the country that the person is from, they might be able to gauge what particular shelter she might have been likely to go to, or if she is with family, or if she is with a friend. There's a lot of location trying to go on right now. So just to try to provide a little bit more information so that, anybody who can help can just put that information out into the channels and see how best they can assist.
Okay, Marcia Dorset, I'm pretty sure, well, I hope you're still viewing. I'm pretty sure you would have heard what the young man just stated. So if you can share some information with us, if you feel comfortable to share it publicly, you can. If you do not, you can contact us directly. All right. So we can, and after the live ends, then we'll be able to assist you and we move forward from there. Christopher, you being a teacher, have you been in contact with any of your students so far? What about your principal? What about your colleagues? How are they coping? What are they saying right now?
So the first question, have I been in contact with my students? So yeah, I teach from Form 1 up to Form 3, and I'm a form teacher for Form 5. And for the most part, through other teachers, so I'm in contact with my other teachers as well, the other on staff, and they're all doing well. I note that there are 1 or 2 teachers that were living in the areas above, in the red zone, and they are all safe as well. We are in contact constantly because they are communication, because of technology. We, unlike when we had the volcanic eruptions before, we can speak to them right away, real-time communication really, and they're all doing well. The students, it's a bit uneasy, especially for the Form 5s. They have had so much to deal with. The COVID-19 education itself is taking a big hit in StVincent because, COVID-19, now the volcano. I really feel for the students of StVincent. in that regard, because we've had so much to deal with, and look, it's just sad to deal. But for the most part, all of my students, all the persons, all the children that I have, I'm responsible for all the students at the school. We've not heard anything in relation to like them being with them being affected. They've not been affected greatly. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. But in terms of the school structure and for the student support, are there any support from the schools, from the education department, whereby maybe like a hotline if students are feeling, depressed, and suffered from insomnia or just a bit of anxiety, given not just the ongoing situation with the volcano, but the continuous situation of the pandemic, as stated. Now, school students are even more affected from the pandemic and now the volcano. Is there any kind of support that is available for students?
Okay, so from what I understand, well, let me give you what I know first of all. So at St. Joseph Convent Morocco, we have a counselor on staff who is always at hand in case anything. In addition to that, our school is somewhat of a close-knit community. And so we are very close to our students. So our students know for sure that if they need to come and speak to any of us, we're always open. Like I said before, I'm always in contact with my Form 5 students. I have a WhatsApp group. So at any point in time they have any issues, they could message me. And this is same goes for many of our other teachers. Now, in relation to a general sense for all of the students in StVincent, I understand that schools would have counselors that are attached to them, and there is also something called student support services that would support students in their time of need and when they have any concerns, etc. So yes, there is a facility there for the students to reach out, etc.
Okay, I think that is very, very good, and I would encourage you to continue, because I know each and every one of you have your own personal lives, you have your own personal family to attend to, but the mere fact that you put your heart out on your sleeve and you're able to reach out to, I just want to encourage you all to continue to do it. Just continue to be bigger than yourself, because the same way how you would have wanted someone, other persons need you right now as well. So Christopher, all I can just encourage you is just to continue to be there for the students in whatever capacity you can in this moment. Odion, Mark, I know you and Utamu, you all are very active, assisting different shelters. What exactly are you all seeing? Was it very challenging to have persons? Because Utamu, you mentioned a few minutes ago, there are some persons who live in the red zone. They decided to stay in the red zone, and earlier, they had to be rescued by boat. So for other persons, was it also challenging for them to make the decision to say, hey, you know what, I'm leaving my home and I'm going to a shelter? Because let's be real, your home is your safe place. That's where you're most comfortable. So just having to pick up your bedding and go to a shelter, you can only imagine how displaced persons will feel. So what have you all witnessed? Were you seeing people willing to actually evacuate their homes and move to a shelter?
So I am speaking again. I have done most of my interaction with shelter managers, but
Okay.
for the mere fact that when I visited on the first day, which is my school, which is a shelter, we were already took up to maximum. We had, at that point, we had 89 persons being evacuees at the shelter, right? And for that fact, I am willing to put out and say that a lot of persons left willingly. Yes, there are the persons who were hesitant, and the numbers would have been distributed accordingly after persons felt the need to leave afterwards. But I think a lot of persons took it seriously first time around and left, because I know Morocco, which is the area to house a lot of persons from Sandy Bay area, the shelters were getting packed in Morocco. And it's very difficult to. I've seen a lot of criticism about.
Are you there? Can you hear me? Because I think we.
So what happened is it begun to rain here. So I'm thinking maybe
Okay.
the signal. Yeah, it's raining heavily. Well, where I am, I'm not sure where Mark is, but it's raining. So
Okay.
you may have a bit of
Of an effect.
cutting signal.
You
Mark,
not
are you
hear
there?
me? You hear me?
Okay, Mark, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, so what's the last thing you heard?
You said there are persons who are willing to move.
Yeah. I came to a conclusion because a lot of the centers here in Maracua were already packed with persons from Sandy Bay. So I am willing to say that from at least from the Sandy Bay area, a lot of persons left willingly. Because I said, for example, my shelter, which is my school, they were up to capacity on the first day of the eruption. Right? At that time they were housing 89 persons. Since then, persons have left and some have come down again. But I am willing to say for the most part, persons were willing to leave. And I've seen a lot of criticism on social media, which I'm trying to limit myself to as well, because it's just crazy having so much places to take information from right now. But other criticisms about why persons never left earlier. And it's just hard to imagine having to pack your entire life in a bag, because you had to remember there's no transportation organized for people to walk with box upon box upon box, right? Persons have to travel essentially light. And
Yeah.
as much as we have encouraged persons to walk with food items, it's hard to travel light and walk with food items. When you're telling persons pack the most important documents, pack clothes, all these things. When you're trying to pack your life into a bag, where there's really no space for the food items. And from that point of view, I understand why a lot of the shelters have evacuees with no food items. So I just feel like this is something we should have expected, and we can't really find the time, or we shouldn't find the time to criticize why persons walked with less things than they should have, or walked with what they had and don't have the food items necessary. Instead, we should use that time that we have to criticize to see where we could donate things. And that is just from what I've been around seeing, because almost all the shelters we went to on the very first day was lacking food. Up to today, some shelters still lacking food.
But how can that problem be curbed though, in terms of the lack of food supplies? How can that be curbed? Because we do
So,
understand, and you are right. It's everyone wants to move with their entire livelihood with them, but that is not realistic, as we all know. But how do we
so
curb
our
that?
our primary goal right now was to sustain these donations for around 2 weeks, because in our mind we already had it and said, okay, um, we know that a lot of persons are abroad and a lot of persons are organizing donation drives and what's not. And we are thankful for that, because those persons are out there and they could get that done much better than us. But in the interim, we are on the ground. So that is where our mission really came in, to see we are on the ground. Where can we help out now? Because we're just trying to do this thing as a temporary fix, essentially, because we know a lot of persons doing drives and they will get much more items than we have right now. So we're just trying to make do with what we have. So again, we have persons who are giving monetary donations, persons who are donating in kind with items that they have in their household. And we are just trying to organize and mobilize those resources that we have to pick up and drop off and distribute those items. And that is what we are doing in the meantime to curb that problem.
How can anyone who is viewing, anyone around the world, people in the region, how can we donate? What is the process
So when you
in
talk about
terms of monetary donations, in terms of food items, in terms of beddings? How can persons donate?
I know of a couple happening. Well, there's a company in Canada, I think it's KLC it's called. They have offered free shipping. So I know that there should be somebody else in Canada organizing in terms of gathering it all together. There are persons in New York. I don't have a list offhand. Well, in my head right now, I could probably find one on my phone, because I know that there are persons who are doing collections in New York and Miami. And then we have other collections going happening in the region. Like I know St. Lucia has something organized already. Trinidad, I know True Shomari Ready Mix. He's doing something in Trinidad. I have someone in St. Kitts and Nevis, who is also working on something. So it's little initiatives around the countries. I could get back a number and contact for those places and send that to you. As
okay, that would be.
here
Go ahead.
right now,
Sorry.
there's the person who has been receiving the monetary donations has been doing so through, I think it's called a Venmo app. I'm not very.
Okay, Vimo.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, then that. And she was supposed to send me the information, so I'm just looking for that right now. But tell me, you could pull it up quickly, or no?
I am not sure. I don't think Rena sent it to me directly, but that's just one of the platforms that we are using. If persons are interested in others, I know that the SVG High Commission has posted a direct bank account information, and different persons, different intentions in the diaspora are also organizing supplies drives and stuff like that. So if it's possible for us to compile these resources together, then we would try to get them out here.
Oh, that would be perfect. So at least then we're able to share, because persons in the comments from the onset, they've been asking, how can we donate? I must add this. This is a common question we always receive. No one asks it, but I'm just saying it out loud. People have a tendency, we have a tendency of saying, you know what? Okay, so we're donating, but who's really getting, or who will really get these donations? Will these donations go to the most vulnerable people, or people who are in certain positions will pocket it for themselves, or be selective as to who they distribute these items to? So I know we can never ensure that these things happen, but what accountability process is in place to ensure that the most vulnerable receive these items?
So I could just give a quick outline as to how we have been doing our thing, because we have had some resistance to going through the official channels that should be. So what we have been doing, we have our own list that we have been compiling, because we have been going around to shelters, as I said, from day one. So as we did that, we have been collecting contact information for our shelter managers. And even when we go again now, we are just checking back and asking, okay, what is the most relevant items that you need right now? So that when we bring a next donation, we ensure that we want to donate in relevant items. So we have a list of all the shelters that are in the country, and as we go and we donate, we are continuing to update that list and with the needs of the persons. And we're just trying to ensure that we touch all shelters. So we're just going through that list and daily trying to ensure that if we touch something yesterday, we will try to touch something else today, so that in every cycle we touch all the shelters possible in the country.
Okay. Approximately. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that's a quick overview as to how we run our operation right now.
Okay. Let me ask Tamu this question, because I know you all work together, the shelters. So Tamu, can you hear me? Approximately how many shelters are there on the island right now? Approximately.
I think there are approximately about 70, 72, 74, somewhere around that number, official shelters across the island. I do know that there is a significant amount of people who are taking in, not just family members, but they're actually families that are taking in evacuees directly. And there are also some unofficial centers who have started offering accommodation to evacuees as well.
Oh, okay. Okay. Christopher, in your community, what's happening? I know you mentioned you reside very far. Go ahead, Mark. You wanted to add something?
No, I was just gonna say the breakdown, because it's about eight areas. I won't call them real constituencies, because some of the areas are not constituencies we refer to as, but 8 areas, and the amount of centers in each area varies. The greatest area would be the Kingston area, which has about 23 centers alone. and
Okay.
I guess that would be because of the location and the supposedly in the green zone, but we know right now that everywhere is ash, everywhere is gray. So but as the case right now. So yeah, I think that's a good rough estimate that Utamu gave.
Okay. To our viewers, can you just let us know from which country you're viewing from? I saw some person say they're in England, they're in the UK, some person said they're in Miami. Can you just let us know? We would like to know, who you are and where you're actually viewing us from. And also for persons who are on this live, if you can just hop over to my page after you're finished, it's KeomaLaHamer. It's a public figure page, a like page. Can you just like that page, please? It's a new page I just created. If you can like that page and help to support me to grow my audience as well, I will greatly appreciate that. So to Christopher, the community you reside in is, as you mentioned, it's not within the red zone. But what are your neighbors? What are the members of your community?
Actually, one of my neighbors is Mark. He lives down the road from me. So the answer he gave you yesterday, I think, said it all in relation to the shelters, etc., and where most of the shelters are. I was fortunate enough to leave today. Yesterday, as we were talking, the ash was affecting me, so I didn't want to leave yesterday. But because of the rain, and it calmed a bit, so I was able to venture out, and it's very calm, very, very calm around. As I said early on, it's like a war zone. In relation to what is happening at the shelters close by, most of the shelters, let me not say most, but a fair amount, I understand, are schools. So most of the schools are used as shelters. Those that are close by, I haven't had the opportunity to visit. Like I said, I just left home today. Ventured out, and it was nothing. It was not to go see the shelters. Hopefully tomorrow I am hoping to go out, and I guess I'll be able to update you later on. But as far as it's concerned, it's very quiet. You're not seeing much people on the road. Everyone is still inside. Again, like a war zone. Everything is covered with ash. It's just white and dismal.
I think it's very commendable for persons who understand the current state of affairs, and they stay within their homes, within the walls of their homes, because again, it protects not only them, but the people who may have to come and rescue them had they gone out and hunting, undesirables happening to them. So that is very, very good. You mentioned most schools are being used as shelters. Does anyone, Mark or Utamu, do you all know if there are any security guards at the shelter? Like we all know, when so many persons are gathered in one space, there can be conflict that can arise. Is there any security guards, anyone to maintain a level of order present? Mark or Utamu, can you all hear me? I know you're on. Okay, they're on mute. Okay, I see Debbie from St. Martin, Mark Lewis from Trinidad, Ludovic, DJ Magnum Helliger from St. Martin, Mark Vidal, St. Martin, Theodora Olivaci from St. Martin. St. Martin, my prayers to the people of St. Vincent. My name is Theodora Toulon from St. Martin. So guys, thank you so much for viewing. Mark, can you all hear me? Are you all hearing me? Mark, can you unmute, please?
Yeah, I can hear you, but do not drop off right now.
Oh, okay. Can you, if you mind, would you mind showing us your surrounding? Like, where are you right now? Let us see what's happening. If the person's there, if they're okay with being on camera, if someone is around you. You can just turn your camera, turn your phones, if so.
I'm not sure how many persons will be okay with that, and I prefer not to. So just should I disclosure right now? Marco government, Marco primary. Marco primary. And just this is just a box that we're donating right now, and then we're going to try to a list of more relevant stuff and see when we could pass back again. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. But it's just to get a list of the relevant stuff and continue purchasing and distributing.
Okay, so to our viewers, you see, this is a real live. So these guys, even though they are on the live with us, they're actually mobilizing while they're here with us. So we must be grateful for that. I really and truly, we are very happy, very humbled by your engagement, and that you're able to just take us along on this journey with you all right now, but live as it's happening. I wanted to, I don't know, I'm losing. Mark, can you hear me? Because we lost Odion. We lost Odion. So our viewers, just have a little patience with us, please. The signals are going and coming on their end, and as you know, they're mobile, they're on the road, they're working right now. So we are very grateful that they actually, could be able to manage what they are doing and squeeze us in just a little bit, so they can, give us an insight as to what is really happening right now. But what I really would like, sorry, Chris?
I was just going to say we're lucky too, because Vinlek has been working really hard to maintain power on the island, but some persons are still without power, some persons are still without water because of the amount of ashfall that we've had in the past few days. The poles have been affected, as Mark or Odion said earlier on. I think it's Utamu said it earlier on about the water catchment areas where the CWSA is unable to open back the catchments because of all the ash that is there. So yeah, it's gonna be a long haul for us, and whatever help we can get from outside, we'll be greatly appreciative of it. So whatever food items, I know you asked a question earlier on about what items are needed. I note that the National Emergency Organization, they sent out an official release stating the items that they would need. I don't know if I should, but I could just maybe reference what is from the official release, if you don't mind. So from the official release from NEMO, they would need things. We would need things like water tanks, about 1,000. We need like buckets. We need folding cots. We need portable potties, blankets, field tents, respirator masks and filters, goggles, reflective vests, caution tape, hygiene kits, things like that, related to the volcano, preparation for the volcano, etc. Yeah, it's a lot.
Can you, Chris? Let me stop you. Can you read those items out again, please? But read it very slow, so for our viewers who are watching. Okay. So they can actually make a note, at least a mental note for the time being.
Okay, so I could actually do better. I'm not working for NEMO. However, I could just advise for our viewers, if you would like to know what is going on and for updates about what's happening in StVincent, you can go to NEMO StVincent Grenadines on Facebook, and all of the information that I read there, all of that list is on there. There are videos relating to the eruption, the infographics, etc. there. So anything that you need, you can check there. Also, I note that there is the UE Seismic Center. They also updating us on what is happening, because of course Dr. Robertson is here. So as a result of that, they have a duty to keep on updating, etc. So you can go to those two sites. Again, you could go to, I'll go slowly, sorry. You could go to NEMO StVincent on Facebook. You get all the information. Then you could also check the UE Seismic Center, and you get information there as well.
Okay. But I still would like you to read those items one last time, but do it slow, because the reality is not everyone is will go on those sites. So
fair enough, I understand.
Let's just do that one more time.
Okay, so I understand. All right, no problem. So the list, and I'll begin. We would need water tanks, and these would be 8,000 and 1,000 gallon water tanks. We need about 1,000 of these. Okay. We need buckets. We need 5 gallon buckets. We need about 5,000 of these. We need folding cots, 10,000 of these. We need portable potties. We need blankets, a lot of blankets, because of course persons are displaced. They're in the shelters. We need blankets. We need field tents. So 20 feet by 20 feet, whatever tent you can give, a field tent. We need field kitchens. We need sleeping mats. Yes, so we need sleeping mats. We need respiratory masks and filters. We need goggles. We also need reflective vests. We need caution tapes, and we need hygiene kits. And anything related to hygiene. On a side, I note that for some of the posts I've been seeing, persons who are helping, they state that the shelters, they are asking for things like pads for ladies, babies, pampers, toothpaste, hygiene products, and of course food. We need a lot of food, because I don't know if you saw it online, but because of the ash fall, StVincent and the Grenadines, we are going to be seriously affected in relation to our agriculture. Everything is covered. And if everything is covered, food, we will have a serious issue with food. So we're going to have a serious issue with food and a serious issue with water down the road. So whatever you can give in relation to those two we really appreciate it.
I see, Glenn, the Shillingford said the list would be similar to that of hurricane relief items. So, Glenda, you're definitely right to that.
Correct.
Correct. So, Tamu, you're there, or Mark, are you all there?
I am here just getting inside as I sent the message there to say that rain actually fell. So I'm sure you can see Mark inside there as well.
Okay. What I would like to know is, at the shelters, if you all are aware of this, is there any level of security to ensure that the level of civil order is maintained? Because as I mentioned a few minutes ago, wherever persons are gathered, there is a very high chance that disputes may take place, right? Maybe someone will pick up something that doesn't belong to them, and there's a confrontation. Is there any form of security just to maintain a level of order present, if you all are familiar?
Definitely. Based on what I've seen at most of the shelters and most of the information that we see coming through the official channels, the Royal StVincent and Grenadines Police Force has been doing an excellent job so far. I think one of the very first notices that I saw released just prior to or after the evacuation order was sent out was that all members of the police force who were on leave or vacation or otherwise would need to report for duty. That was actually one of the first messages that has been sent out, and the police have been very active across the shelters, and they have also been performing evacuation duties as well. So kudos to our police force first and foremost. I know I also see members of the auxiliary police force. We also have members of our paramilitary forces, such as the Cadets Corps, and there are also members of security companies and so on, who have also come on board to address those security concerns at the shelters, and also to provide so much needed presence and also assistance as well. So again, kudos to those personnel that we have out there working assiduously, and they don't take as many breaks as probably other persons do. So again, we really have to be thankful for the work that they're doing so far.
And we add our support there as well. So again, to all of the persons in law enforcement, we thank you also extensively. I think I can speak on behalf of all of our viewers, and for persons who will eventually view this live. We commend you for what you're doing, and we encourage you to continue to do what you're doing. Have there been since any deploying of any defense forces from other Caribbean islands?
Certainly, I think Barbados was one of the first islands to respond in terms of sending some defense. I saw some very well attired gentlemen at, I think it was a port or a harbor, and they were actually packing supplies to come to StVincent. And I think one of those ships has since arrived. But of course, we know with the activity that is going on the northern end of the island, the sea conditions will vary. So some of those responses might be challenged by that. And earlier we also had reports of possible pyroclastic flows, and then that raises concerns as to pyroclastic density currents and so on, which can actually make the seawater very hot and be very dangerous when it comes to docking. So there are some forces that have been deployed, and I assume in the coming days that a lot more will be sent from our neighbors in the region.
Okay. For persons who are viewing who may not understand what chiropractic flows are or is rather, can you just explain to our viewers, because we really want our viewers to understand and be able to follow us?
Yes, certainly. Well, a pyroclastic flow, most persons would probably link it to a lava flow, but it is actually different in terms of the velocity, right? So it's a very fast flow, and it's very dangerous because of the type of material that usually comes with it. Normally with pyroclastic flows, you're gonna see material like boulders, rocks, and so on being shot out from on the flanks of the volcano, and those flows have the potential to follow our drainage patterns, or follow the mountain ranges, follow the rivers, and make it all the way to the sea. So they're actually one of the most dangerous attributes of the eruption or of the explosion. And if you date back to the 1902 eruption, they were actually one of the major sources of peril for Vincentians at the time.
For our viewers, I'm pretty sure that was very, very clearly defined. Just to add, let me read this comment. I have it up. It's Andrea Paul said, your government officials should contact K1 Britannia International and Samaritan Purse, as they are specialized in emergencies like this, as they bring in dry goods, blankets, water, and hygiene materials. So we can definitely share that contact with you all. I'm not too sure what the process will be if you're able to move this information from here to your government, but seeing that you're working with a shelter and you have that leverage, we can definitely share that information with you.
Well, definitely, and we would inquire. Definitely, we are thankful for that suggestion, and we would inquire to see if that has been done, or if we can get someone who would be able to work on that. But what I can say in terms of the response, I know that there have been a lot of organizations, a lot of different persons have been in discussions and in contacts already in terms of the type of relief that we want to get here. It's just that in these early stages, the coordination of that is a bit challenging when you still have elements of the eruption ongoing. So it's just a bit difficult right now for us to kind of catch our bearings and get things together. But I have confidence that certain things are being put into place. And again, so thankful for that suggestion. And if we can pass that on to somebody who would make that possible, then that would be amazing.
Oh, definitely. We'll share the contact. We will definitely share the contact with you after. In terms of support, it's very hard right now, given the fact COVID and now the current state in StVincent, to have everyone to be physically on the ground. But what about mobile support? How can persons maybe do something from afar, a remote support? If anyone knows, like, if that is possible, how is it possible? How can people join in and support, not only in terms of gathering dry items or even monetary funds, monetary donations, but maybe some kind of logistics that you can have that level of support. So while you're out, you don't have to think about, hey, you know what? I need to go back and get this done. Is that even possible? Have you all even thought of that?
I think some of the areas that would be best applicable are in terms of documentation. Certainly, we know that the documentation of events like these is critical in terms of planning a response for the future. If we can have some assistance in that regard, that would be good. And I think Christopher was mentioning earlier about the impact of let's say the pandemic and the volcanic eruption forcing people to stay indoors, and the impacts on persons' mental health, and you have issues such as anxiety and depression. So if we can have some mental health resources, I mean, this is a different time, and it's a virtual time. We're all here in different islands, and we're experiencing what we're experiencing, but here we are, and we're able to share and connect with so many different people. So if we can have persons who are willing to assist in whatever their particular field is in a virtual capacity, then that would be greatly appreciated, because I think some of the load in terms of planning, the intensity of the planning process and so on might be a bit difficult for persons here in StVincent who might be preoccupied with being first responders, who might be preoccupied with trying to safeguard their friends and their families, might be unsure about the continuation of their livelihood, stuff like that. So that type of assistance would greatly be appreciated and helpful in the absence of other types of assistance, such as direct donations and so forth.
So to our viewers, you would have heard what Utamu just stated. For anyone who is skilled or just have a willingness to assist with logistics, whatever it is they need that we can work and we can do remotely. If you're interested, you can reach out to me after the live. You can just send me a message on Messenger, contact KeomaLaHamer to get to me, and then we're able to just bridge that gap, all right? In terms of the different districts, and remember, Chris, you stated you were in, when we spoke yesterday, you stated you were in because even though you're in, the ash was still affecting your breathing. For persons who suffer from asthma, right? Yeah, for persons who suffer from asthma and on these respiratory illnesses, and people who have cancer as well, I would like to know. I know in some British territories there are persons they call medics who are located in various districts. Do you have any community doctors who are at hand and readily available to attend to persons' health needs? I don't know if anyone can answer that. I don't, it's just anyone.
Certainly. We have various polyclinics across StVincent and the Grenadines, and I think I have started to see releases from some of those health centers with regards to providing of immediate medical assistance, whether it be for persons with respiratory issues like asthma, like myself, or for persons with long-term chronic illnesses, so that they can get the necessary assistance. We know for people with cancer, for kidney patients, get dialysis treatment and so on, and even for persons with diabetes, certain types of care would be required, and those resources would be pressured at a time like this, especially when venturing too far out from your community would probably be a challenging thing to do. So I have seen some of the healthcare professionals being mobilized to work on the ground at shelters, and there are also polyclinics and health centers across the country that have started making their services immediately available in terms of releasing specific information as to where and when persons can access these type of services.
Okay, and I would assume that these services are free services and not paid?
Certainly, these are emergency services that are being provided. I do not yet know the full scope of it, so I cannot state whether or not for a fact that it is free or not. But in this crisis, I think that those immediate services are free medical services.
I see our viewers, they're very much tuned in. I'm thinking of what else I can get out of you all before we end this live. Christopher, you stated you were out yesterday, and I'm wondering if you were in yesterday and your breathing was affected. I'm wondering how other persons, like the elderly, how are they really dealing with all of this? Is there anything that persons can use when they're in their home, whether it be a vapor, what do you call it, a vapor, or something to help to just assist with their clarity of the air? I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know what can be done to assist in with this.
Well, I saw some suggestions being where you could wrap a towel and you place them by your doors, like where the creases are below. And you could, to keep it out. There are also suggestions of wetting your curtains so that if it blows, it will stick to the curtain, etc. If there's any space in your window. Those are some of the suggestions I've heard. The tall one I've done because I do have some blocks, those fancy blocks. So I have those fancy blocks downstairs, and I realized after a while I was smelling a good bit of it. And when I went downstairs, I noticed that I had forgotten that they were there. And so what I did, I wet a towel and I stuffed the hole so that it doesn't come in. So things like that could definitely help. And the main one, if you don't have to go outside, don't go outside. That's the main thing. Don't open your door, don't open your windows. You can wait until everything, once you're in a safe area, a green zone or a safe area, it's best not to venture outside. Just stay inside until everything calms down. And drink a lot of water. Make sure that you're hydrated. So yeah, I don't know if you wants to say anything else from a personal stuff.
Is it customary? Is it customary for persons in your community to have a water tank? I know in several Caribbean islands, almost every person has a big gallon water tank in their backyards or high up above their homes for that water pressure. Is that customary that you all have that?
Yeah, for the most part, yes. If you would go around, you would see a fair amount of water tanks around. Yeah, so yes, I would say that yes.
Okay. The reason why I asked that because you on the needs list it's asked for a water tank. So I'm thinking if persons are accustomed of having those water tanks on a day-to-day basis.
So this would be from NEMO. So this is the National Emergency Management Organization. So I believe this would be for their shelters, the schools. Remember, the schools are the shelters, and you now have in any normal sense, the school would have the children, but they would leave at a certain point in time, and they won't be used. They won't have that use of a lot of use of water. But now you have shelters with a whole set of people, hundreds of people, etc. They will need a lot of water. So these tanks would, of course, be for the shelters and maybe to distribute, because I did say yes, it's a normal thing for us to have tanks here. However, it's not everyone would have. So I'm sure that some of these tanks would maybe be distributed to other persons in the community that would not have as well.
Are there persons who, like in St. Martin, we have like district councils. I always, whenever I talk publicly, and if Veronique Livingstone, I'm calling her out there because she and Zahira Hilleman and the entire team in the South Ward Council District, they do such an amazing job with this. This is just an example, right? In the South Ward community, the district council, they have a listing of all the residents in that area and wherever their needs are. So they will be able to go like foot soldiers and just go house to house to see, okay, what is it that you need? Do you all know if in the various districts, various communities in St. Vincent, if there are district councils or just community leaders who are going or who did it already, went foot to foot to say, hey, you know what? Knock on your doors, what are your needs are? Because the reality is there are some people, let's be real, who will feel intimidated to say, hey, I need this. We have some of those people who are prideful. And there are people also who are suffering from, who has disabilities, elderly people who cannot move, so are there those people existing there?
Well, in terms of the district councils, I don't think we have a district council system set up. But what I can speak to is the existence of civil society. There are several organizations who have already been on the ground providing support and volunteerism work to the National Emergency Management Organization. And those are the same groups that you can expect to perform some of those same types of civic duties during the course of this crisis.
Okay, I think that is so necessary because people in their district, they tend to trust their own people that they see every day, and they feel a sense of security and a sense of responsiveness because they know that Mark or Christopher, right? They know that they will come, or Utamu, they will come there, and they will Odion, they know they will come there for sure. They feel a wider and a deeper sense of trust in that sense. So if you do have the civil society organizations who are very present in those communities, I think it's very commendable. And again, we would definitely like to know how we can engage on that level. For me personally, I love that one-to-one connection. Crystal said the district nurses has a list of all the sick and needy in their community there. So, yes. So anything else we can add? Anything else? Am I missing?
Can I just say one thing? I don't know if I'm saying this too early, but I just would like to ask persons or just tell persons to please practice due diligence when persons come soliciting for any donations for StVincent. That's just the main thing I'd like to say at the end, because unfortunately, there are persons who would want to take advantage of a situation like this and have different fundraising activities, etc. And at this point in time, we don't want to have two victims, meaning victims here on the ground and those persons who out of the who care for us and want to also they're
Most
good.
definitely,
Thank you
most
very much.
definitely.
Yeah, so please practice due diligence. If you find that the information that is provided doesn't sound too right, seek to contact someone in StVincent. Maybe if you know someone there, contact them. If anything, contact a government official, etc. NEMO, the US Seismic Center, some other person that knows what is happening on the ground before you do give or send anything. All right, so that's it. That's my final words there. And thank you to everyone who has sent their messages, their concerns. Thank you very much to you, Keoma, as well for having us. It's really really appreciative. And yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you.
Oh, I must. You're welcome, Chris. I must add to that. I think it's very commendable that what you stated is coming from someone in StVincent themselves, because people tend to be like, okay, you know what? Let's not put it out there. But the reality is that we have to put it out there, because in a time of need, everyone. I mean, there was someone breaking into people's homes, right?
Correct.
And
yes.
In the height of all of what is happening right now, people find it fit and necessary to break into other people's home when everyone is in distress. So I'm very, very appreciative of the fact that you highlighted that. And I support it. I stand with it. For persons who have a kind heart and you would like to donate, you would like to support, please practice due diligence, do your checks and balances. As one of my managers will say, cross your T's and dot all of your I's before you make those transactions possible. Know who you're sending your money to, and know who you're sending your goods to, and know who's receiving them as well. All right. So thank you very, very much. Anyone else? Mark, anything for closing? But
I think Mark is at a shelter. Mark,
okay,
you there?
He's here. He's here. I don't.
Hey, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Right. You were asking for final comments, I think.
Yes, but we haven't heard from you in a few minutes. We know you're at a shelter. We haven't heard from you in a few minutes. So if there's anything you think is necessary to include in this conversation, just let us know. Here's your time. We're all tuned in.
Another shelter I'm at now. This is going to be Richland Park Government School, which is the primary school. Let me just turn it back again. I just want to say really and truly that I am moved and I continue to be inspired by the actions of the youth, because a lot of persons put on the youth, and say they don't have the necessary know-how sometimes. But I continue to commend the youth, and the youth have given me inspiration that we can do better for StVincent and the Grenadines, because, I mean, to be honest, a lot of it was impromptu, and you had to expect that, because persons just wanted to help. That is for me, that was the good thing. People just wanted to help us at the drop of a hat. As soon as they say it's about to blow, people were ready to help. And the fact that a group of youth reach out to me and say, yo, I don't see you doing this, we doing this, let me put efforts together. For me, that is amazing. And I was moved by the fact that a lot of, because everybody in my group, I believe, is younger than 30, right?
Oh, wow.
We just have, and even persons who are not even
30, 35.
Even persons who are not Vincentian, but just happen to be here right now, whether it be through their relationship in terms of being with a Vincentian or whatever the case is. Because I don't even know the dynamic of the group. I just know it's a group that want to help. So I pitch in with them, and we continue to give our time of all the resources that we have. Even one of the guys who with us today, he just had to just take off this morning and just say, yo, fellas, I can just take a quick breather and just fall asleep quick, because between doing this in the daytime and then coming back at night to say, okay, how do we regroup and say, how do we do this better tomorrow? Because if we are all under 30, 35 thereabout, you could understand that none of us have experienced this before. We are all going based on the word of elders, right? But the fact that young persons like that are willing to help, it's going to be a process for us. It's a steep learning curve for us, especially persons who are not skilled in project management or what have you. I am in the Department of Computer Science and Accounts. That is what I did my first degree in, and I'm doing a master's in data science. So I try to take my expertise. Utamu they do is what you doing in Mona again. It was geography.
Yeah, geography.
Yeah, we just have people with a diverse background and persons who continue to assist and just lend their expertise wherever the case may be. And as I said, I just want to be thankful for that, and I just thanking everybody who assisting, be through us or not, just assisting generally. So because I know we're not the only persons doing it. There are a lot of persons on the ground assisting where they can, and I'm just very thankful for that. I just want to encourage persons to continue assisting wherever they can assist.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. I think it's commendable, really and truly, that you didn't have to be asked to come out, but you see the sense of responsibility, the sense of need, and you took the calling upon yourself to say, hey, you know what? We need to do something. And the way how other persons just gather, congregate together, it just shows in the height of disasters or in the times of need, we do know we are one, and we don't have to say it, but we see it clearly exemplified every single day. We see it in hurricanes also. In 2017, there was Hurricane Irma in St. Martin, and we see people from all over came together and just came out and poured their support and never asked for any payment in return. So again, I commend each and every one of you for what you're doing. Continue to do it. And again, we should definitely have a talk after. We want to know how we can support. We cannot all be physically there, but how can we assist virtually? Some persons do not have the gift of saying, hey, can you donate? But some persons have the gift of using a computer, doing up some drafts and saying, let's help you with your logistics, So those things are possible. So let's have a conversation and let's just engage in a community to see what is needed and how we can help to curb those needs. All right. Christopher, anything in closing that you think you want to end with?
So I would also echo what Mark or Odion said. I have seen also the outpouring of love from citizens from across the region, international, etc. And it's a blessing, and I am grateful. We're thankful. If I'm able to speak on behalf of everyone in StVincent, I would say thank you very much, and also continue. We definitely appreciate it. We at our lowest right now, and your support, your show of support, is just helping to lift us up where we need it the most. So thank you very much, everyone, and we definitely appreciate it.
Utamu, before I give you the chance to say your last, what would you say, or what message would you want to tell Vincentians who are not in St. Vincent at the moment? What message of hope, what message of comfort? Because trust me, there are people out there who is not home, who is not in St. Vincent, and they're worried, they're frustrated. So what message of hope will you send to them with a level of comfort?
Well, first of all, I just like to say that I truly do enter into their feelings currently, because while I was in university, we experienced a pretty bad trough system, and I was in my dorm room sitting, seeing all of these pictures of flooding on the windward side, on the leeward side of the island, seeing all of this destruction and so on. So I can definitely relate to what they might be feeling at this time. What I'd like to say is that family, and the only way that we're going to get through this truly is together. The only way that we will get through this is together. So, contact someone, contact your family, contact your friends, check on them, make sure people are all right, and let's just get to work on the recovery and the rebuild for the time being. I mean, I know the eruption is still ongoing, and we are not as yet sure how long that will continue, but for the meantime, your country needs you. Your country and your fellow Vincentians need you to stand up and really spread the awareness on what has happened, and try your best to see in whatever capacity you can to do something to help, to even if it's to share some words of encouragement, to let us know that you're here with us, to let us feel that same sense of family and unity and togetherness, and we'll just try to move from there. That's honestly what I'd like to say to Vincentians who are abroad. And I know I have seen so many messages from persons who have actually said that they wish they were home. So you can see the level of if it means to be there with their family, to be there with their friends, to be there with their fellow Vincentians, to stand in solidarity. And what I'm saying is, you're not here physically, but you can still be present. You're not here physically, but you can still be present. The coronavirus had already separated us and forced us to social distance, but we can still come together.
Thank you very much. Is that your closing? That was your encouragement to your fellows in Vincentian. Well, how would you close?
Well, on a more personal note, I guess, studying what I did, geography, and basically living through this. I mean, we've all heard the experience of the elders about 1979, and they've even, historically speaking, from the 1902 eruption. But to read this in lecture slides and to sit down and hear lecturers talk about it and to live through it is two completely different things. And I'd just like to say that I am impressed with the spirit of the Vincentian people, the willingness to help, and particularly coming from my generation, from the younger generation of people who, you know, are furthest removed from the 79 generation in terms of the experiences of the Soufrière. We still know that indigenous knowledge and local history is powerful, but I'm really impressed with the spirit of the young people in the willingness to help and the willingness to get forward. That is what we need to be resilient for the future. That is what we need to recover as a nation.
Thank you so much. To our viewers, I see Maria Joseph asked, hi, are you from St. Vincent? Maria, I'm not too sure who that question is referring to. I'm not too sure who that question is referring to. Okay. Well, I see we have even like some spams coming in as well, so we want to make sure we protect our accounts and not have any kind of idle comments coming in. But to our viewers, again, we thank you so much for tuning in. To Christopher, to Mark, to Utamu, thank you all so much. Continue to do what you're doing. We definitely, and I'm not saying it because we're on the live, I mean it. And Chris knows, Chris and I, we know each other for several years. We have done work together before, and this is what we do. Chris knows where my heart is. So we definitely want to liaison with you, get that information that we spoke about here, and see how we can disseminate that information off screen. And even in terms of remote support, like how we can do that. I have no issue at all gathering persons to say, hey, you know what? Let's see what is possible here. All right. Things may take a bit of time, but it's possible. Very much possible. We have persons from Aruba as well who's paying attention, who's watching. So again, for everything you all are doing, everything you have done prior, everything you're doing now, and for all you will continue to do on behalf of our team, I'm partnering with 721 News as a partnership. So I have my own platform as well as Gyhaffin with Keoma, which we're on, but we're streaming simultaneously on multiple platforms. We're on 721 personal page, we're on the business page, we're Paparazzi, we're on my page as well. So we're streaming right now, and since this entire life started, we have been on 8 different platforms simultaneously, 8 different platforms, right? So thank you all so much to our viewers. Thank you for engaging. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for your compassion. For our friends in St. Vincent and for our Vincentians who are away out of St. Vincent, our hearts are with you. I have to shout out Kevin Franklin, who is in St. Vincent. I know his sister Candy and Kelly, they are watching. I always have to shut them out. They are very good friends of mine. So thank you so much. Gentlemen, Tamu, I don't know if you have to hopscotch right now, if you have to get off immediately, but if you like, you can wait for a few more minutes and we can talk behind the scenes. And or if you have to go, it's okay. Then we can just follow up after. Whatever is fine with you then.
Okay, well, you have my contact. Thanks again for having us. I think I want to touch base with some people who are out at shelters just to make sure everybody is back in safely. Make some other phone calls as well. So thank you so much for having us. Thank you everyone else for tuning in. And Christopher, big up yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for making yourself available in the height of everything. And to our viewers, again, I'm asking you if you can hop over to my page, not my personal page, my live page we're streaming on. It's KeomaLaHamer. If you don't mind, if you can like that page, follow it, so I can at least build up my audience as well on that page, all right? Since we started Gyhaffin with Keoma last year, May, I've been using my personal page. So right now, we definitely want to, transition to that so I can have a better level of gauging when it comes to the episodes we host. So again, thank you for your support. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you all. Christopher, we will chat as soon as we get off. We will continue to talk. All right. So Komikio, Paparazzi, it's Martin. Thank you so much for allowing me to partner. Well, thank you very much for our partnership. And we will continue to make this better. And for the persons in St. Vincent, thank you all so very much for sharing. Thank you for your compassion over there. Thank you for supporting your own people over there. And for persons throughout the region, persons throughout the world, our hearts are with you. And we are all together. We'll reach out and support our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent. So thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a very, very, very good week ahead. Bye.